Okay, before I get to the electronics, I did forget one mechanical thermostat. I guess there's still quite a few of these out here. These were using heat pumps from the late 70s. Gosh, well, I actually still think they make them. But this one, there's a lot of things that are similar to what we've been talking about before. Let's take a look at the top. That's where the temperature controls are. Okay, you can see the H and C on this thing. And of course your temperature is right there. As you push the H up, it's going to push the C. Obviously H is for heat, C is for cool. They can be spread apart like that, but they can only get so close together. Make sure that's up above the space temperature. Okay, and here in the bottom, we have the same things we've had on the other thermostats, the other mechanicals. And this one, the only thing that's a little bit different is this one has a cool, auto, heat, emergency heat, and off. That's how that one works. Makes it sure it's in the heat position and it's set above space temperature. Okay, this is our first electronic. Got a little display there. It also has this little thing that opens up. Be sure that, when you're looking at these things, make sure that you've found all the buttons. Sometimes a little hard to find. This is a system switch just like those others were. Let me get a little closer to that thing. Okay, now you can see fairly well the display there. Okay, you see the system switch right down there in the bottom. And I want you to look right there. There's a little flame right there. Okay, it goes to off when I push it. It's got a snowflake. If you can see the snowflake in there. And if I push it again, I will get a snowflake and a little flame. That means it's an automatic mode. You can set your temperature for heat and cool. And the snowflake means cool, and of course the little flame means heat. And then if I go like this, it just goes to flame. Okay, now that it's in the flame mode, that does not mean the thermostat is calling for heat. It's just in the position to do heat. Now, if I raise the temperature, now remember when you got buttons, if it's a red button, it's heat. If it's a blue button, it's cold. Okay, now you see that little thing that came on right there? That's this little doohickey right here. It says STG1. That's telling you that's the stage 1 heat is on. Okay, now it says stage 1 plus 2. This thing has 2 stages. It means 2 levels of heat. But the point is, it's on. It is calling for heat at this point. So if you see that, you see something there that says heat on, stage 1 on, sometimes there's just an on. Something like that is telling you what's going on inside that thermostat. That thermostat is now calling for heat. Now, these covers on these things sometimes are pretty hard to get off. And you may be a little worried about damaging them, but they do come off. I've got it loose right now, but it's pretty hard to take off. Okay, now when you take this off, you can see inside we've got 2 AA batteries. Those batteries, this thermostat actually operates on those batteries. They're not just backup. So if the batteries are low, there will be something comes on to tell you they're low. Okay, here's another electronic, and got a little bigger screen on this one. This one also will glow blue for you, which is kind of nice. When you touch one of the buttons, it glows blue. Okay, let's take a quick look at this one. Here we've got a system button. You can see that goes off, heat, auto. Make sure it is in the auto or heat position. Fan, you don't care. Now you notice this one has a little doohickey right here that says that's showing a battery and it's showing it full. When this thing gets low on battery, it does like every other electronic thing. It'll show that thing real low, maybe an X through it or something like that. Or some of them will say BAT, B-A-T-T. On these battery operated thermostats, you're going to have to make sure that those batteries are okay. Now this one's a little bit odd. Okay, if you look at this one close, up on top here, you see there's a little spot here. Take the batteries out right there. So look for things like that. I won't tell you these things are all easy to do because they all tend to be a little bit different, but know that there are batteries in many of these thermostats. Okay, the system is in the heat mode. We got heat right down here where it says system. It's not, I got a set, this is a set point, this is a temperature in the room. If I want this thing to come on, I'm going to bump this thing up and it's going to have to go higher than the temperature in the room. I heard a little click and you notice we got this little system on thing. Okay, that means either heat or cool is on. So I come up to this thermostat, I notice it's in the heat position. The system says on. If there's a flame, whatever like that, may say heat on, this says system on, whatever. Something is telling you that it is on. And you want to make sure you have set this well above the temperature in the room. Okay, this is one out of the late 80s, early 90s. It's a Honeywell, even though it says York on it. It's a heat pump thermostat. It's an electronic thermostat. Got this cutesy little cover on it. It likes to break. Got a dial in here. Dial should be turned all the way up. And let's take a look at the system switch on this one too. Okay, here again, you've got cool, off, heat, emergency heat. I'd be putting it in the heat position. You can certainly try emergency heat, but because that'll be the backup heat. But make sure that that is in the heat position, that the temperature dial is turned up. This is just a thermometer here. I think this is time. Can't remember. I think it's time. This is kind of an antique, at least for electronics. But it's pretty much the same as all of them, except you got a dial on this thing. So set it to heat, set it up as high as it go. Okay, this is an old 7300 Honeywell. This is a commercial thermostat used only in, well, mostly only in commercial buildings. And lots of buttons, gobs of little buggers. That display up there will show temperature and your set point. And if you want to change the set point on it, it's right here, occupied heat and unoccupied heat. This one's getting a little bit complicated for what we're trying to do here, but I would set the heat both unoccupied and occupied as high as I could go. And go from there. Okay, finally to the last one we're going to look at today. This is another electronic thermostat. This is a Honeywell. This is their Vision Pro. Okay, here's a close-up on this thermostat where it says inside right there. That's the temperature. On the right-hand side, we've got heat with a couple up and down buttons, and cool with a couple up and down buttons. With this one, these are for schedule, for hold, and so on like that. I won't get into that now. But if you look right here, let me see if I can get a little closer on that. Okay, if you can see where it says system, Now, right now it says auto. If I hit this thing, it starts blinking. If I hit again, emergency heat and then heat. When it starts blinking like that, hit done. Okay, so that heat on should be there. Or hit this thing into heat. Bump your temperature up with these up and down things until it goes to heat on. And that is electronic thermostats. There's a million of them out there. I can't cover all of them, but most of them have these same similarities in the way they work. There has to be something that indicates the heat is on, and you need your system switch in the heat position. And that's all for now on electronic thermostats, getting the heat on.